All good.
Robbie readiness training again. We saw watching on the touchline today. How serious a concern is he for Monday?
No, I think Robbie's fine. I think he was even tempted to train today, but with his travelling tomorrow, he'd have almost another day's recovery. So it was really precaution for Robbie, but I think he'll be fine. As you saw, Robbie joined in and started and finished the session. John Walter's done a light jog, but I wouldn't be worried one bit about Robbie Brady. It was just more precaution than anything else, and he'll be fine.
You mentioned Walters there as well. He's not trained since last Wednesday.
Yeah, not ideal, of course, but I think he's feeling better than himself. Obviously, medical staff are looking after him. No player, I suppose, likes to miss any sort of training. But again, I think there has been improvement. Even John himself is a lot more positive about it, and we're probably looking more towards the end of the week. And John's a fit lad anyway, so I really don't see. Hopefully, that won't be a problem for next week. But obviously, the closer we get to the game, the more I suppose John would be the biggest worry. But we play it by ear. I think it is one of them ones, day to day. We look at it. But I think, as I said, his body language, and he's a lot more positive than he was maybe a few days ago, which is good.
That must be a real boost for yourself and Martin because Brady and Walters are two of the key men.
They're important players for us. Had a big part to play in the campaign. Good players, obviously John, big character for us. Robbie's done really well, particularly on his set plays, deliveries, etc. So, yeah, we hope they'll be ready for next week.
You were really scathing last week of the players who played against Belarus. Have you seen the reaction you were looking for in the last
Yeah.
What have you done? Have you done anything differently?
Well, to be fair, we tapered on training a little bit over the last few days anyway, because we had a decent week last week with the Belarus game. The training, even the heat in Cork, it was a good week from the physical side of it, and I think the 1 or 2 days off over the weekend, as usual, it's just lads' chance to recharge the batteries. The fact is, we're flying out tomorrow. We're getting near the tournament. I think that's created obviously another some more energy in the group. Last week, obviously, we discussed the fact that the squad was to be finalised. I think obviously that's all sorted out now. So yeah. Last few days have been fine. The players have been excellent, and as usual, I think when you give the players 1 or 2 days break from each other and the staff, they come back and energy levels are high again. So we just have to make sure we get the balance right in the next few days regarding training. Obviously, we're travelling tomorrow, and make sure we're ready for the game. So yeah, all positive.
England, Northern Ireland, Wales already out there. You're one of the few countries yet to travel. Do you get feeling that players are frustrated, desperate to get out there?
No, I wouldn't say frustrated. No, but I think when we get over there tomorrow, we'll be glad of it. You've mentioned countries been over there already. Obviously, they're playing before us. But yeah, you feel it'd be nice to get on the plane and get over there when the first game starts, the tournament starts. I think before you know it, we'll be straight into it. So as much as we're looking forward to it, we also have to remind ourselves to enjoy it, enjoy even the next few days when we get down to serious business next week. But I wouldn't say frustration is probably not the right word, but you know, you can see the players will be ready for next week, definitely. I think there's only so much training you can do, so many sessions you can do. It is about games, and obviously this time next week will be after our first game, and we'll be right into the tournament. So we'll be ready for it, and we're all looking forward to it.
Martin said yesterday that you'd spoken to Aidan McGeady over the last week. Since the comments last week, did he take what you said in the right way?
Yeah, I'm not going to go into what I say and don't say to the players privately. Yeah, I've spoke to a few of the players, not just Aidan, and I've done that throughout my career. Whatever I've done as a player, when I was obviously a manager at Sunderland and Ipswich, I've no problem in speaking to players, staff members, if I feel I've gone overboard. So that isn't an issue for me, but I'm certainly not going to go into any sort of conversations I would have had with individuals or the group of players. That's private, but you know, we move on, and we get ready for next week.
How important is tomorrow and the travel day? A lot seems to be made of the trip to France. How important is that everything goes smoothly on the day?
Yeah, it's part of being a professional. obviously we're not getting any connection flights, which helps. We're going direct. We'd be on a nice plane, I'm guessing. Probably get water and sandwiches. We get looked after. I think the kit went out recently. So, yeah, part of that, if you have a positive attitude, that can be enjoyed as well. It's only a short flight. Hopefully you can win a few bob in the card school on the way over. So it's, all good. And it's almost a down day anyway for us tomorrow. As I said, I don't think the travelling should be too tiring or too stressful. I think the players will look forward to getting to the new training camp, different environment, and obviously when the tournament actually starts, it's for us, for the staff, it seems a long wait now. And if you said we were playing tomorrow, we'd be ready. It's serious business now. As I said, you can do it's only so many training sessions you can do. The real business starts and we're ready.
Well, just I know Robbie Keane's on a series, and just the fact that it's a back spasm, he has to get onto a plane now. Is there any?
No, do you know what? You could worry. You could worry yourself to death. I think we have to step back, and I think he did a scan the other day, which helps. I think that obviously that's all clear. So, honestly, I'm not trying to just play it down too much. It's just really precautionary. And he's very confident. He was even tempted to train today, but obviously the medical staff held him back a little bit, and rightly so. And I really don't think that's a major problem. I know what you're saying. Sometimes when you mention the word backs, people get worried. If he was 6'4" and we were getting on a 10-hour flight tomorrow, you'd be going, make sure he's got extra leg room. But Robbie's only small anyway, so he'd be in a baby seat probably on the flight anyway. He'd be sitting in somebody's lap, so he should be fine, honestly.
Just Jonathan Walters, how long do you wait before you kind of say he's in or out of the team for 1 week?
Well, that's the $1 million question. You just, but there's certain players you would, I suppose, wait a little bit longer, and John's probably earned that right for another few days to give him the benefit of the doubt. But again, sometimes I think I mentioned it last week, when the players are coming back from injury, a lot of it's down to how positive they are, and John's body language. Again, I think John is obviously dying to get back involved, but he just might have to be a bit more patient, and he might be near toward the end of the week. And he's one of the fittest lads in the group, and I think that would be we probably won't have more news on John until later in the week. I know the media will probably keep asking, but we're just playing it obviously day by day. And John's probably earned that right to wait as long as possible. Doesn't mean to say you wait till next Sunday night, but you'd want to be have some sort of news by the end of the week, because of course you want to finalise teams, etc. in your head. But I'm sure the manager will make the right call, and we have to trust John's opinion. Again, whatever with the medical staff and our own opinions, a lot of it will come down to the player, where he thinks he's ready to start, a huge game, and we'll gauge that over the next few days.
Does it affect the work you do on the pitch in preparation for the Sweden game?
Yes and no. In an ideal world, obviously Robbie's missed the last few days. Robbie Keane, Robbie, you want everyone training, same at club level, but it's not. That's not the case. It's not as simple as that. But John's experienced enough to know that obviously if he's fit by the end of the week, the last week or two, we'll get by. It's not as if we were doing any great tactical stuff last week, because we had the game against Belarus, and we weren't focusing too much on the Sweden game. That's coming over the next few days, so the quicker he gets back on the training pitch, the better. But John's earned that right, I suppose, to just bide his time for another few days. James is fine. James is, I suppose, been a real bonus in the sense he's just fallen back into the group. And the fact I've even forgot about James on that side of it. I've not even been looking at him going, be careful, or don't be tackling James. You can put him as a spare man or whatever. We've not. He's just been back into the group. I think he was delighted to get his first 1 or 2 sessions under his belt, mentally as much as anything else, because James has played a lot of football this year anyway. Usual stuff. He's had 1 or 2 mishaps with injuries, etc. But I think that if you hadn't mentioned him, I wouldn't have brought him up. He's back into the swing of things. Decent game today. He trained yesterday, and he's back in the group now. And that's it. I'm not even sure he's getting any sort of treatment or whatever. And it's good to have him back in, because he's an important player for us.
And you mentioned Robbie Brady was a big part of the campaign. I think 6 of our 8 shots against Holland were all from his set pieces. How big is he from an attacking perspective?
Yeah, very, very important for us. He obviously technically very good. As we see in a lot of big games at the moment, or most games, obviously set players are huge. Whatever about movement or how big your team are, you got to have the right delivery. And Robbie's an important player for us. Just speaking to him there, he's no doubt even frustrated to miss training today. So he's one of those lads, he's enthusiastic. He doesn't like missing training. He's obviously had a tough old season at club level, but he's got a spring in his step and he's ready for the Euros. And he's an important player for us. Like you said, a lot comes through him from his from dead ball situations. But I honestly don't think Robbie's injury is a major concern. Like I've said, I think if the game was tomorrow, I think he'd say, yeah, he put his hand up, but the medical staff just wanted to be careful with him, which is understandable because we still have a few days to play with.
And just on those conversations from the players, I'm assuming that you initiate those conversations?
What conversations is that?
Well, you said that after the media comments that you spoke to the players privately. Do you initiate those conversations?
I usually do, yeah.
Boys, Sweden had a very good win on Sunday against Wales. Did you get an opportunity yet to have a look at the video of that?
I didn't need to watch the video, I was at the game.
And your impressions of Sweden?
Yes, no real surprises. Very good team, very experienced. They played really well on the day. I know Wales no doubt will be disappointed with their performance, but Wales probably played a lot of fringe players. Bale obviously didn't start, but yeah, there's no surprise with Sweden. You know what you're going to get with them, and it's physically a tough game. And they've got one or two individuals, no doubt, that can win lots of games, and they've got vast experience. Players in their group with lots of caps. Having said that, same for us. We've got good experience in our group. But it's always good to watch the opposition live. You can't beat it, whatever about DVDs and match reports. It was nice to watch them. And obviously we travelled over to the manager and we were impressed with them, of course we were. If you win any international match at 3-0, then you've done well, friendly or not.
Remember was talking yesterday about man marking and we're going to be coming up against strikers like Ibrahimovic and Lukaku, big physical presences. Yeah, obviously, man marking is not a tactic that this team really pursues.
I don't think many teams pursue that. It's very difficult. You've heard it all before. Sometimes you home in on one player. There's certain parts of the pitch, obviously. You would instruct your team, if you're particularly the good attacking players, if you're 20, 30 yards from goal, obviously someone get to him. But in terms of man markers, I'm not sure that I know the last team that would have played with a man marker. It's just very difficult against good teams. But we can praise Sweden all day. We've got some good players as well. And it's up to our job to get them worried about us a little bit. But this idea of a man marker against some of their players, that's a no-go, I don't think. Yeah.
So you think it's outdated in modern football that you can't play that tactic?
I think you can, but I just don't think it seems to happen in the modern game because a lot of teams have different strengths. And if you said it before, whether it be the Messis, the Ronaldos, if you home in on one player, as I said, no doubt when a certain player is 30, 40 yards from goal, a Ronaldo or a Messi, whoever it might be, a Bale, even this, you get to him. You get one or two people around him. And that's just football intelligence. Know your players. I always say that to players, know their players. Know when you're up against, if a certain player gets to 30, 40 yards, someone get to him. That's just, as I said, football intelligence that most footballers would have anyway, from playing against players or watching players. If you're up against good players, you don't give them time and space 20 yards from goal because 9 times out of 10 you will suffer. That's common sense.
Roy, there's been a lot of worrying reports coming from France about the possible tariffs that they're over the country and the tournament. Is that something that
None whatsoever. Doesn't even cross my mind. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I don't know. But we have to trust the security people looking after us. Whether it be our own security staff and obviously the security staff we get when we get to France. Doesn't keep me awake at night.
And in terms of, there's always a lot of talk about players being away from home, boredom and things like that. What did you do yourself as a player to sort of ease the boredom and distract yourself from the fact that you're away from your family and friends?
What did I do as a player? Played cards, watched a bit of television, listened to music, read, ring home. Nobody ever usually answered, but you try. It's all right. You go for a walk. We've done a photo. I think there's been a big thing made of this boredom thing, but I don't know. I think the modern players now, would it be obviously iPads, and I don't think it's a problem. And we give the players decent freedom, and whether it be going out for coffees or whatever, we're in a nice location. I think they'll have freedom to go and stroll around, I'm guessing, for coffees, whatever it might be. And usually when people say they're bored, that's because they're boring. No, it is. Most people like me who say to me they're bored, I look and go, you look boring, all right. You know, you have to think outside the box. You know, lying on your bed all day thinking, oh, you have to get up, go for a bike ride, go for a swim, chat with the staff, drink like we do, 20 cups of tea every couple of hours, card school, whatever you want to do.
Well, I suppose maybe.
How close are you to the starting 11 for Sweden?
Me, I'm well short. To naming it, you mean?
To naming it.
Yeah, no, again, I think we'd have to wait another few days because of the travelling involved. There's a few doubts with one or two players. Robbie just got back in the group. And I think if you speak to the manager, I think, you know, you kind of cross that bridge more at the weekend. But in the back of your mind, I suppose you're always thinking of teams and starting 11s. But in terms of sitting down and going, listen, what way are we going to go? That'll be a few days yet because of the fact you give certain players the benefit of the doubt. To see if they're going to be available or not. It's no good picking a starting 11 today when we don't know who's going to be fit by the weekend.
Last question.
Moving away from the boredom question, but in terms of psychological preparation, how would you evaluate this squad in terms of being competitively, psychologically ready for the tournament from what you've seen?
Yeah, I think they're ready, yeah. But the game's a few days away yet. But if you told me the game was tomorrow, no problem. And we just, you know, in terms of the balance with the training, the workload, get that right in the next few days. And I've said it, I think I might have said it last week, Fanny team, Sweden, Belgium, Italy are going to beat Ireland, and they're going to have to play well. That's all you want as a coach.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry?
Robbie Keane trained for
Yeah, yeah. Robbie started and finished the session, and so far there's been no reaction, and he looked as sharp as ever. Okay.